Okay, today I am talking you through problem number 4 on the worksheet, which is the review for the test. And the worksheet is called Chapter 10 Mega Review. And basically it's a bunch of hard problems. Some of them are harder than what would be on the test. Number 4 I wanted to talk you through because it's similar to the one for the height of the commons. And that lab is something we're also going to be doing our measurements for today. So I've drawn the picture for number 4. And that's half the battle, is getting the picture drawn. But now it's not the whole battle, because I need to be able to somehow use this one side of 50 right here. And that 50, unfortunately, is not one of the triangles that I have an angle for. So we labeled all of these sides with L and X and T and M and Q, and then we're going to try to write equations that work. The only equation that we started with was one of the students knew that it was Pythagorean theorem would say that m squared plus 50 squared is equal to q squared. And that was because this pink triangle right there, those are the sides of it, m and 50 and q. Okay? And then I challenged the students to write me equations for m, equation that has m in it, and an equation that has q in it. And that's what the kids are trying to do right now, is write an equation that has m in it, an equation that has q in it, and then hopefully they'll solve them for m and q and put them into one big master equation that's kind of like this, except it doesn't have m or q in it anymore. Then you probably can graph both sides and see where they cross to get your answer. You just got to make sure your window's big enough. I'd set your window out to like 200 or 250 to have a chance to be able to see where those two cross. And you go second, calculate, intersect. And make sure you don't give a negative answer, because of course the height of the tower is not negative. All right, let's solve the setup, and I'm going to pause while you guys see if we can calculate this. Okay, we're back with the recording, and I need to get these equations in here. I think I checked with all the groups, and I think they all knew that the m equation that we needed was tangent of 55 is equal to opposite over adjacent, so t over m. And to solve that for m, I just have to rearrange it, and m is equal to t over tangent 55. Now, groups did this two different ways to put this in the calculator. Some of them put this with the tan 55 in it right there, and that works. The m is equal to t over tan 55. You got to square it, and it adds a lot of complication to have that tan 55. You could just find out what tan 55 is, the decimal, and replace tangent of 55 with the decimal for tangent of 55. What is tangent of 55? 1 point. Give me 4 decimals for it. 1 point what? 4281. Thank you. Or 81, not 18. If you're having issues with typing it in, it's probably the tan 55 that's messing you up. Okay. So now, the 50 squared, that's easy. 50 squared is 2,500. Let's stop for just a second. And more than one kid in each hour, has thought you could just take the squareds off because they're all squared. Can you just square root everything? Well, if that was true, we would never have the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared, because we would have simplified it by taking the squareds off, and it would have just been a plus b equals c. It'd be great if it was that easy, but it's not. You can't just take the squareds off. All right, so you cannot square root both sides when it's got a plus in the middle of it. It won't work. So back to, if you graph this, which would be t over 1.4281 squared plus 2,500, or you could say 50 squared, and you graph the other side, which is, wait a minute, I don't have the other side yet. I got to find q. Well, the equation with q in it was tangent 44 is opposite over adjacent t over q, and therefore q is equal to t over, stop talking please, tan 44. Then the tangent of 44 can be figured out with a decimal if you want, or you can leave it in there. But this is the part that has to go right there and be squared. You graph both sides and you see where they cross. I know a couple groups are done at least. How many groups are done? Raise your hand if your group is done. Okay, cool. If your group didn't finish yet, what you had to do was graph this squared plus 2,500 on one equation, and the other equation is this squared. Don't forget to put your parentheses in. Got to have parentheses in the right spots. Then, since the answer comes out, what is the answer, like 100 and something, or 40, 50, 65? Okay, as long as you set your window big enough to see 65, I was saying like 100, 150, 200, it would have worked if you had a window that big. The only problem is if the window's too small. Oh, the Y also has to be, the Y has to go really, really high to make that work, okay? So you had to have really big window settings. Did anybody find them by like just like doing a zoom fit? There's a special zoom that makes your window. Didn't work for that one? Zoom fit is kind of random on, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Otherwise, you can set your window just really ridiculously big. Just keep on making it bigger and bigger until you eventually find where you can, oh, I can see where they cross now. Yeah, you can zoom box to zoom in on the area where they are crossing. All right, all said and done. The answer is on the page. Did you notice that the answers for these are all on the back side? Their answer's right there. The answer is 65.5. And actually, I had some debate about whether it's 65.54 or 65.6. Okay, that difference is 1/100th, so don't stress if you're off by 100th from the answer key. But the answer key was 65.4 or 65.5, something like that. Okay. Now, that was a challenging one to solve because of all the math at the end, and you had to write two equations and put the equations into each other. Yeah, trig gets complicated, and you're in honors pre-calc and in the trig part of honors pre-calc. This isn't supposed to be easy, and this is probably the hardest problem that we encounter. Now that you've seen how to set it up, it should be a lot easier to do it next time. So, next time is here. The lab. We're going to just take measurements for the lab today. The measurements part is going to be really easy. And all we're going to do is, listen please, listen. Gentlemen, ladies, stop. All right. Answer's been verified by tons of people. I know the answer we gave was right. So you're doing something wrong. All right. That is a little dot right at the top of the commons. If you go out to the commons and you wanted to like see how tall is that thing, do you get it would be a little bit of a pain to try to set up ladders to measure it and stuff? We can use trig to do it. Tell me, if I'm standing here and I'm looking up at that spot on the ceiling, okay, I know you're doing math, but now you're missing the lab. Be with me, please. Thank you. All right. So, if you're looking up at that spot, tell me the simple way, using angles and trig, assuming you've got a measuring device, which you will, to tell how tall the commons is. What's the easy way? Okay, you walk which way? All the way underneath it? Well, I agree. Walk all the way towards it until you're where? Exactly underneath it? Okay, and then you measure that off, and let's say that that is 50 feet. We're going to do this all in meters, by the way. Why? Because they're easier because they have decimals instead of like inches and stuff. Makes it really complicated. Okay, so you're going to be going, excuse me, don't talk now, especially when you're disagreeing with me. All right, if you're going to take a pace, I know this is not super accurate, but it is super easy. We all know how to walk. Every pace is going to be a meter, but tall people, short people, you have different paces, and therefore can't all be the same. They can't all be a meter. So I like it when you're in your group to have you average it off. So if you go 5 paces and they go 5 paces and they're in different spots, you have to kind of average it. because the super tall people are going to take longer than a meter pace. And the super short people are definitely going to be less than a meter on their pace. Or maybe have the shorter people take longer strides. All right, so you're going to pace off, and let's say you take 10 paces. How many meters is that? 10 meters. Not that complicated, okay? We're not changing the feet. We're just keeping it in meters. So if you took 10 paces, it'd be 10 meters. And then what did we need here? The angle. I'm going to pause for a second and show you the app that will be able to find that for you. All right, we now know how we're going to get our angles. And let's say that it came out to 42 degrees. I hope that this is extremely easy for you to find x. Yes? Okay. Then option B, and I recommend this option because it's easier than option C. Option B, you have to do it two ways, by the way. The easy way. And this option B is you can go straight forward and do a new measurement up here and say that that one comes out to be 58 degrees. Straight towards your object. Then you'll need to know how far you paced in here. And then you figure it out that way. Should they come out the same? Yes. Will they come out the same? Probably not. But they'll be close. And then maybe you average your two numbers. Option C, and this is only for people who want the extra challenge, that would be to set it up by walking sideways. And that's where you do this thing. Measure it. Say it comes out to 55. Then you walk at right angles to it and take a new measurement. And let's say that that's 63. And you measure this distance like we just did on that last problem. Definitely adds the challenge. If you can do it that way, I will respect that. That would be cool. But nope, there's not going to be extra credits. School limits extra credit severely. To actually, the best you can have for extra credit comes out to, I believe it's less than 1% of your grade overall. And that's for the entire semester. So anyway, bottom line, nope, no extra credit for it. But if you want to try that challenging way, that would be cool. And I throw that out there because there are some people that like to rise to the challenge. All right, so I'm requiring two ways that you calculate this. You can, and I would definitely do it the easy way. You walk up underneath it. All right, we now only have 15 minutes left. And so all we have left time to do from now to the end of the hour is to go out there and take those measurements. Okay. Last thought. I recommend that you just get your measurements today, and this lab is not due until Monday. Okay? So your test tomorrow, what should you do to get ready for the test? Those rest of those white problems on the white sheet of problems that says mega review, and the answers are at the end. You should check yourself before you wreck yourself. Very good. All right. And that's all I have for the video for today.